court belong all one of tribunals. I come up now. This courthouse sufficient enough. Me people long accommodate him. But inside long one province too. Me can look how Mr. Assistant Speaker. The government will support him all. Government will support him all of building courthouse for big courthouse long one province, and not just the courthouse, but bring the courthouse or court judges. You go along one place, one province. That's a good because people establish a place, dispute establish a place, trouble will come up a place, court must go a place, court must have him a place, now straight him a place, Mr. Acting Speaker. So think him government come up and good plan. Now, not something on magistrate, me look him, you put him money on magistrate, Mr. Acting Speaker, magistrate, and plan the court through. Before you go on indictable offences by you go on National Supreme Court, or magistrate by hard him this court. Now, magistrate you must look out him all good. House from magistrate must come up good plan, all by city from good plan house, pay from all by come up good plan. Now, magistrate too stop number out, Mr. Acting, number in the sense that not enough security long all. Because also had him all sensitive cases, also had him. The magistrate stop number, all money come, sample one talk come, or sample troublemaker told by coming, or him, when him belly silong all, or try to get him tintin blong all, when him silong come inside. That is why house blong all by him must walk him good. All must got security, now protect him all, so that all his staff was independent, impartial court, no one influence long outside, now all by staff now had him court. Now, me look him also, you like improving sit down below magistrate and me good plan. Before to me man below harem court too. Me say staff free now man trouble man say come me celebrate staff na come no long. Do ablo me. Now meeting one me open door lo panimaro sem money got court lo court. Na me to kai me by harem court below you know below lo come to talk lo me pass them lo court na behind me harem court below you. Me say talk him also. Also now the minister, one time government, you must help him all magistrates. Striking pay belong all, working house belong all good, all his staff all yet, all amamas na staff, why all go on court na harim court straight. Now was him sample talk win me all harim. Sample talk win me all harim. Sample line go to talk on the magistrate finisher. All go to talk. No straight in finisher now. This thing come up long as stay. I mean, this in true beyond him, Lord, come up, and this in because sample line go to talk to magistrate finish. And this slow walk long come up. And come up. And talk win, so talk win, sample talk win, so I got true blow him. Or some me believe or some sample talk win, yeah, and true blah. And this blah. Or some time magistrate, give me right position by trouble by Kirap, fight by Kirap, also something by come up. So plenty more cases and magistrate hiring, Mr. Acting Speaker. So you improve him condition for magistrate, that's the way forward. That's the way forward. Inside the whole of whenever Papua New Guinea along Australasia, you meet us all, you got more court. You may got more court, more magistrate court, now you look at you may got more judges court. Now a lot of the court be by go because this is a place I mean not of the kind, Mr. Acting Speaker. Kind I think a place for travel or no kill good. Then Papa got them sour. Mr. Acting Speaker, but the fact remains that you need can't tribble on court, can't tribble on lawyer, now can't tribble on magistrate, and stuff. But you may improving conditions. Now you may scale him levy. Now Minister, you come up him lawyer. Now you may straight him. You may pass him talk one time, boom one time. Now you may straight him. Can't tribble him by come up good plan. Can't tribble him come up good plan. Now you may can enjoy him. But the Department of Justice. Now, Department of Law Enforcing Institution, long country you me, only Prime Minister is a very important institution. Very, very important institution. You can talk to Billim Road, you can talk to this big development. That's all time heavy stuff long community. Now time you mean straight in display long heavy long community. And development by not come up good. That is why you may give him priority along Ministry belong Justice. Ministry of Law and Order, disorder enforcement, law enforcement, this plus something, and top priority. And of course, everything police, CIS, this plus, all too. law enforcing institution or sena yumi ba support them all. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Long Speaker Tokyo Slomi Tok.
Governor Blong, ECP.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. First of all, let me commend the Minister for this timely presentation on the floor. Whilst there are many things worthy of mention in this paper, I just wanted to focus on one aspect, Mr. Acting Speaker, and that is towards the conclusion, part number 18, the intervention by the Minister. Mr. Assistant Speaker, mi plai tok lo law and order plan the time law, this la floor. Na Department of Justice mi part lo this plus sector where you mi suppose lo deliver him justice you go people blow me. Ogada province mi experience him increase lo law and order. Na mi yet time mi got opportunity lo tok long opening blong all court year lo province blow me. Mi say make him this la comment all same. People blow you me only need him justice. Now, to me, if it takes a long time to deliver the justice, then we are in effect denying justice to those who need it. When I look at the Constitution, and I'm not a lawyer, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I have a problem where manemi wokim heavy. Constitution sa hurry up lo banisim desla man blow wokim heavy. The person who is accused of wrongdoing or is suspected of wrongdoing, the entire Constitution emsai gona sanap backside lo protect him right law trouble man. But when I look at the Constitution, my reading of it is that there is nothing to protect the victims. So you victim, you can wait if the justice system is slow, if the prosecution is slow, if all of these mechanisms of the state are slow, you can wait 5 years to kiss him justice. There is no justice. So when I look at Part 18, where I see that NEC is going to appoint 5 state prosecutors, I'm thinking about the victims. Mi yet lo province lo mi pasin blow one plaman fight lo nar plaman na using weapon or semsarep or bush knife or waya katapel lo bagarabim narbla increase. Now my worry is that suppose policy arrest him of laman where me walk him fight lo nar plaman na bagarabim nar plaman quick time through he got public defense and by defend him trouble man. Now line where heavy come up longolia who speaks for them? And I would put to the House that, and I would put to the good minister and to the government that 5 state prosecutors is not enough. And you may deny him justice law. All man merisa karim heavy longem. If you look at the number of perpetrators, now I can refer to some of the statistics that Mipla receive him long. Gender-based violence, na desplakain, there are more than 30,000 cases of violence perpetrated on other people in 1 year in our country. 5 prosecutors is not going to make much of a difference. I would also suggest that there should be a joint paper brought to the House where you may look in Tok Blong police, those who are doing investigations, those who are going to do arrests, how they connect to the prosecution of the state, and how do we get the convictions? Because if you look at the police data that was presented to us, and I think every member of parliament should be concerned, and I note the issues that were raised by the governor of Milne Bay this morning with the Minister for Internal Security. Yumi keniga rogara desla heavy, but if we are not able to arrest, prosecute, and get a conviction, and Yumi government Yumi toko right law, all trouble man. Yumi give him all toko right now, lo walk in more trouble. Because if you look at the police statistics, 30,000 cases a year, conviction is probably around 300 convictions. That's not good enough. So I would encourage the good minister to take a look at that submission and to go back, and if we can, I'd like to see more prosecutors recruited, because I want to fight for the victims. Online where trouble come up, I want to see the state stand up for them. I think for too long the protection around the Constitution for troublemakers is being overused. The burden is actually on the state to provide proof that Desla man or Desla Mary make him wrong. The burden is on us. Now when the burden is on us and we don't have enough prosecutors, we don't have enough investigators or those that have the right skills, then plenty of trouble man all by twisting system and walk out. And when they twist the system and they walk out and there is no conviction, we continue to lose the fight against those who are perpetrating crimes within our districts, our provinces, and in fact our country. So I'd like to encourage the Minister, Mr. Assistant Speaker, to go back and take a really hard look at this one. We've had, at committee, we've had the Department of Attorney Generals come and present to us. They are aware of the issue. All yet, we need more prosecutors. And I'm just surprised that the entire country is only going to get another 5. I think we've got enough judges and magistrates. I think we need to focus further down the ladder. I think we need better investigators. And I think we need more state prosecutors. That's my contribution. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Honourable Member for Ashala.
Assistant Speaker, first of all, I'm commending through the chair that Attorney General give me good paper na talking work blow court now kamosem na judiciary kamosem. Me like commending him na commending also government blow. Prime Minister Marape and Rosso no put him look sawe na put him plan the money go inside no judiciary blimino Papua New Guinea. They must be commended for that, because then big work blow law and order no Papua New Guinea. Miga lili talk the statement blumino one no side blow look sawe no some blow judiciary blimina decisions also working. Iga sample talk heavy camber sample decision also working that take him over 5 to 6 years. Now this law you miss out in is delayed justice is denying justice to our people of this country. The Yumi must come the system. Instead of me looks how some Attorney General also looks how and review Judiciary and Legal Service Commission and good working, but inside those changes now review him must got some passing or banishing stuff where he must talk someone court. Or he must work in decision on time. Now you mean not blue sim court yet. He guide him or police him to work. He must got automatic system stop. So as decision comes in 3 or 2 years time, only money got heavy no stop or decision affecting him and must put him go automatically in one nubla area or nubla committee can look away. Why is the decision delayed? Plan the decision delayed. Plan the work blow all private sector, plan the work blow or people or criminal matters or some governable CPK talk is delayed. But it must be automatic. We cannot allow the people who are policing that or who are attending to it police themselves in this matter. So, me looks out on point 5 law. Attorney General appointment through the chair, me looks out as like reviews the Judicial and Legal Service Commission. It come also on disciplinary matters law or court line. You mean no can lose him no all yet police him all yet. This work he must go on Napla committee or some judicial ombudsman. Me like ask him government, you must look strong, you put it on judicial ombudsman. So you mean all public, no independent or citizen of the country, he got heavy or he looks hours and some line blame me sit down on court or log in some aswa. Or public must get right or can go on a complaint as ombudsman commission, blood judiciary. You may not allow him all money yet, all stop no slap, no let, but look sour no let na. He got heavy stuff all by gonna talk sour no let no. Police him all no. Gonna investigate him all at Embahad. He got one or two, plan deal. All judiciary believe me stop no court now. Plan deal good plan man. Now me commend him to work him now. But one or two, he got some heavy stuff. You miss our pennies. No sala country. But where stop by me go complain? By me complain on Attorney General or by me complain on that? You mean a politician, Mark Blimmy stuff. All man got heaven in me or complain, all you go on Ombudsman Commission. Now judiciary looks independent to mass, you mean look him. But instead of constitution, all part of the three arms of government blame me. So you mean all citizens, na you mean all money stuff, you mean right now, you must work him complaining on all. No, I saw all work him. But one or two he stuff. So Mila looks at us, and even so his decision he delay too. Ombudsman's the commission, judicial ombudsman commission, he must work him complain all too. So he must look at and ask him all judges why he plan or work him decision quick. So me slightly heavy on me got me looks at us, so you address him. So me ask him through the chair, me ask him government through Attorney General, please. So review like work him. You must look at as a point that you must cover him, bring him come to Parliament and look him. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member for Iriquere.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too would like to add my debate to this paper. And in doing so, I want to commend him, Minister of Law, Justice and Attorney General Long, provide him this statement, law house, where we can look sawe law heart, na soul long, but also government in terms of law and justice sector, na how you may look out him. Matthew chapter 6, verse 21 of that holy book that sits in this house says, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And we look at this government, he put in 401 million kina coming to law department, and me very much encouraging. There are only 2 points we raising him, Lord, this report. Number one, I mean give people look sawe law, Attorney General, long reform or development and kissing come long paragraph 6 long report long ADR, alternative dispute resolution mechanism, the commercial dispute resolution, important. And I speak as until my election as a practitioner of the law and officer of the court. This area one important area along third arm of government, the judiciary, the dispensing justice, the Papua New Guinea, driving also economy of the country, the commercial activity of the private sector. This is very, very important and very key. And I commend him, Minister, now team long come up in this reform, like him come bill long August sitting. I'm hopeful that you can House can adopt him, then we can utilize him long government, the country, me. The many commercial disputes of great commercial value are congested in the litigation track where disputes protract or dispensation is delayed for the very reasons that have been shared by others this morning. And so this is a very good step in the right direction. Most of the report, if you look at it, speaks of two things. Firstly, it speaks of infrastructure development, the investment, government said, more brick and mortar, courthouses and expansion along justice and housing or court officials. The other part, of course, that has been discussed well and looked at well, I must commend also the Minister for this, is the welfare, the lookout in money long or lawyer bluyumi, where salary and wages belong state lawyers should be looked at, the welfare belong all. This is the reason why most of our lawyers in the public sector run off to private sector to work, in the hope for a greener pasture, in the hope where, because as human beings, they too want to look after their families. And to encourage excellence in the public, at the public bar. We need good resources to be invested into our lawyers so we can sit down in the office and make good work long on. This is a profession that is very heavily criticized by public. I came here to the House, and I'm sure majority of legal practitioners in the Hirikwari district voted me because looks like also me can come na makimol na talk me but understand him situation long. And most of you seated in this House are supported by very strong lawyers. The election petitions are driven by very good lawyers as well from the private sector. But that's because they are taken care of and they have the time and the resource to stay at home and do their work and dispense quality justice. But when we talk about justice, I want to talk about the second part where I feel that that will add to the quality of legal services in this country. I speak also as a former member of the PNG Law Society Council, and a former chairman of the Statutory Committee, where we would deal with everyday matters of concern of conduct of lawyers. But I say this because in this report, in the statement, what is missing, and I wish in future statements it will reflect, goes to the factory where we churn out lawyers. I am lawyer number 1,110. I was admitted in 2002. It is now 2023. 2,000, 3,000, maybe 5,000 other lawyers have come out since. Does the job market have accommodation for these lawyers to be employed? Why are we churning out so many lawyers every year? Maybe the standard law entry, the University of Papua New Guinea should be seriously looked at. We are churning out quantity, but not thinking of the quality. This is what this country is suffering and the legal fraternity is suffering also. Quantity is great, but quality is what's needed in this country. I am hopeful the third arm of government is mari go along this arm of government, and we can give some investment the University of Papua New Guinea Law Faculty and make sure quality law lecturers is top class too. Let's bring lawyer professors come na sit down la Nanimol Papua New Guinea Sumatin too long law school. Too much of nationalizing is not properly going to help us. Maybe create a quota of foreign lecturers to come and teach as well, and to come and work at the Legal Training Institute, and maybe restructure the way lawyers should be coming out. As I say this, and more importantly to the heart of a legal practitioner, is this: resource is important. In our day, when we went into law school, there used to be books that were lined up, Papua New Guinea law reports. This law report is fundamental to justice law, this country, law quality. You will no more publishing this document. Why you will not putting money go inside this resource, which is not only good for education, but then by life, the foundation of the legal practice in every lawyer's life. If Papua New Guinea should be served eloquently and well in the courts and in the commercial track, you need good publications. And our investment should be focused at this area as well. You may need continuation of publication of public law reports. The judgments that are coming out there should be some publication body that is printers that are bringing out the masses, so that lawyer you work must come good. You are the client is satisfied, country is satisfied, all our agencies are satisfied, and the courts are churning out judgments more faster. Judges' work is limited to the lawyer's contribution, I must say. Suppose lawyer making good submission to court, is serve it through the subjects and talk them, and by looking, results may come out faster. This is why I started off with Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. Where your treasure is, there your heart lies. Me like him encourage him, it's like Gama Blayumi, look, review. If suppose not now, in the next budget cycle, add him something more, publish him more PNG law reports, encourage him journal writing, and encourage him a quotable expatriate good professors to come and teach our young people coming through the law faculty. Thank you too much.
Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Me too, me like contribute to this paper. Good paper where Minister Kisim Kam lo update him this house na people country lo walk and walk him na when something walk lo come up lo or courts systems blame me inside the country, which is very, very important. You may have also Assistant Speaker, lo country we are faced with a lot of issues administratively law or courts blame me. Issues where plenty of man work white court or inonap kisimo kamlo court because there are issues that are affecting the system itself. Lo this time Assistant Speaker me like talk lo 2 plus something taso. Number 1, paper where you Karim Kam Minister, I'm showing me awesome you na organization blow you play work in plenty work, lo improve system blame me. Now system blame me no system where astetasol start long time them come. Time population and been start some 3 or 4 million. Now population blame me grow big platumas. That's all you mean law development law or many systems blame me, including where you are now. You may slow too much, law moving you may yet go. So that you can go before the situation or issues will come. Now issues go before us, now you may walk behind. So you inside the paper you talk of them but you make him some plan or all workman come inside. Good plan. Workman within Papua New Guinea, now workman by come from outside. So Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, talk me like talk awesome. Whilst you may work lo time best blame me, lo improving court systems blame me, which is very good. 1 plus something where you may must improve him. Internal Security Minister in the stop. All arresting officers blame me, all prosecutors blame me, lo police. Plenty time, all case go before the courts. One of the delays you may work lo experiencing, Mr. Assistant Speaker. All court files in work already because police are not finishing investigation blow. Or suppose all finishing investigation blow, it is either very poorly presented or the investigation is not done well. Now it is thrown out at the courts. Now, Mr. Assistant Speaker, plenty time, all man go come up to court. Now, all media, all people defaming this all man. People who were later found to be not guilty. That's all. System affect him all. Now, family blow all suffer because image blow ibagrap. Now, point where me like present him come me, Mr. Assistant Speaker, and 2 platters or me talk. Plenty time, you may go to courthouse blame me. You may look him or some, or lawyers blame me. Plenty blame me, lawyer, you may go to courthouse finish. Now you may find out or some, or lawyers blame me, also walk him 2 pla walk. 1 pla walk, and I'll sit down and walk him paperwork blame me. Or investigate him this like case 1 more time. Now, time best blow, or put him documents together so that they can present it to the court. Now, Mr. Assistant Speaker, if seriously, the Minister can look at the Public Prosecutor's Office, because plenty of lawyers work locam Public Prosecutor's Office are either acting as barristers or solicitors themselves. Now, inside legislative office, blame me, there should be a clear demarcation where 1 plus law and solicitor. This type who is qualified to bring forth legal advice and legal services to the client. Napla, inside legislative same office, must be a barrister so that he takes that information that the solicitor has presented and bring it forward so he can argue it in courthouse. Plenty of time all lawyers blame me, especially the Public Prosecutor's Office, Milukim or come to courthouse. They come and represent the client as both, number one, as a solicitor, and number two, as a barrister. And I suppose seriously, through you, Minister, if we can have that clear demarcation in that office, where they can concentrate law, putting more paperwork administratively together, and allow somebody who is good in arguing the case to present that case before the courts. Number one. Number two, lawyers blame me at all public practitioners, or lawyers blame me. Plenty of law got big law offices where they employ more than 10 lawyers inside law offices, office blow too. Now that practice also, not only the public prosecutor's office, but that practice also of having solicitors and barristers should also be practiced in private practices blow also. I think in that way, Mr. Assistant Speaker, and by having Yumi, moving some cases, hurry up. Because plenty time, or lawyers go inside the courthouse, now I'll ask him, magistrate, or ask him, judges, or say, by you delaying this case or deferring this case for another 2 months or 3 months to give me ample time to prepare. And I think by us reorganizing the House, both in the public prosecution office, in the courthouses themselves, now in the private practices of our lawyers, and by having Yumi smoothly running some cases, blame me. Thank you, Assistant Speaker.
Honourable Member for Abao.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. I'll be very short. Thank you, Minister and Attorney General, for this excellent report. Just one question, and later the Minister can process it later, but I feel that our services in this sector are very highly centralized. And I wonder if that is the right approach in terms of a highly centralized program rather than some of these key being decentralized down to the provincial level. That's just a point for my clarification. My big point is when I became Lands Minister in 2008, I was advised that there were 20,000 outstanding land dispute cases in the country, and I was overwhelmed. And with our government's effort to mobilize land, particularly customary land, our efforts fall short because the land disputes are one of the constraining factors in mobilizing and realizing the potential that land has. And so in that period, we decided and recommended that the Deputy Chief Magistrate should take charge of all the land disputes in the country. And so we mobilized funds, built this new office, and then Deputy Chief Magistrate, I think still now, takes charge of all the land matters. The point that I really want to emphasize is, in the process of looking at land disputes at the lower level, like for example, the land mediators at their level, the process takes really long, and my experience is it comes to the district court. If the magistrate has gone to another province, then that land matter is given to another magistrate, and then the process starts over again. And in 2 or 3 experiences, these land disputes on one land matter go for 2 decades, 3 decades. Original owners have died and the children have come up and picking up the case. And so, Minister, can your department give a little bit more focus? And like our signatory policy, Connect PNG policy, can this matter be given a lot more attention than, in my opinion, it has been? And so I really want to achieve a time when the land disputes issues are solved at a faster time than what we have been doing over the last 48 years. And therefore, accessing land for development becomes an issue for any government of the day. And so, Acting Speaker, I thought, Assistant Speaker, I note in the presentations that from the magisterial services point of view, our government has given sufficient funding right down to the 1,424 land mediators with an allocation of 4,500,000. And I'm just wondering whether at the land mediators level, the capacity building at that level, the ability to mediate, the ability to document, and then they go back to the district court, sit before the magistrate, and then present their cases. And in one of my cases in my district, the same land matter has been going on for 30 years. I wonder whether that is duplicated. And so, Minister, I humbly request if your department can give a lot more focus on land issues, and through the Deputy Chief Magistrate, I know that this can happen. But for our development efforts, I strongly plead to the Minister and the Minister for Lands to combine and get these land disputes some more attention so that they are solved at the faster pace than what we have been doing over the last 48 years. Thank you, Assistant Speaker.
Question before. Question is that question before. Those who say favor say aye. Aye. Those who say no, I say it.
The question is that the Parliament take note of the paper.
The question is that the Parliament can take note of paper. Those who favor say aye. Aye. Those who are against say no. I say it. Minister for Higher Education.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I join the rest of my colleagues in supporting the statement made by the Minister for Justice. And I'd like to humbly present a paper on the scientific research and development. But Mr. Assistant Speaker, let me just say that there are four papers that I will have presented to this Honorable House. The first one that I presented was in the previous session with regards to the National Quality Framework in the Higher Education Space, TVETs and colleges. The other paper that I presented that gives a background to the work in the sports sector is a paper called the Go Rural, Go Global. And today I will present this paper on science research and development. And another paper that I will be presenting is a paper on the KPIs. The question that I asked, I had the member for North Fly asking the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister giving us ministers these performance indicators, and that is the other paper that's still coming. Will be probably the fourth paper I will present. But on the present paper, Mr. Assistant Speaker, there are two beliefs. The two beliefs that I personally hold in conviction to be the truths, the many truths based on facts. But in general, I believe in two truths that I think if we in Papua New Guinea and as a human race we believe in these two, I think it can guide us. And first is the belief in the power of goodness, the power of God in us, within us men and women that then shines out of us. to giving that positive energy of love, peace, and happiness, that goodness that we share with others, that can change and mold and shape the society we live in. The second truth I believe in, Mr. Assistant Speaker, is the power of knowledge. If we can combine those two and apply knowledge to decision making, to our living, to looking after ourselves as a person, as well as family, and in particular in this, as a Parliament of Papua New Guinea, I think knowledge combined with the belief of goodness and love in us can enhance us in the right focus, and we will have a society or a nation of positive thinking, loving, happy, and permanently prosperous people, a prosperous society. So, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I shall, in this paper, focus on the later belief, which is knowledge or science, but I will focus on research. Knowledge cannot be developed. Technology cannot be innovated unless there is research done, carried out by scientists, or development of progress by those in that industry, in the business of expert in developing knowledge and science through research and development. Mr. Speaker, we continue to grapple with so many different issues, from climate change, our growing population, food insecurity, energy shortages, challenges from the technological revolution, emerging and prevalent diseases, and limited employment opportunities. I'm challenged greatly by our inability to take evidence-based choices founded on credible research outcomes. Yes, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I'm talking about the lacking of, the unavailability of, or not being able to access relevant research outcomes that can inform our policy choices. These are very serious factors affecting our development. The case of COVID-19 is an example where the local scientific capability was inadequate, thus giving rise to confusion, fear, and ill advice during the COVID-19 pandemic period. These and many other such issues continue to inhibit a stable growth, prosperity, and undermine our ability to be competitive in the trade and market. It is almost 50 years after independence, and 80% of our people continue to live and survive under an agrarian lifestyle, but we have seen under the policies of the Marabe Rosa government, the Connect PNG and other work through district development programs, we'll see this lifestyle change and beginning to take that change. But when extraction and export of our precious resources continue to take place at an accelerated rate with limited benefits, these natural resources are finite and will cease one day. On the other hand, the agrarian way of life is not a choice of our people that the rural folks choose to live by, but rather a lack of opportunity that marginalizes them to lead such a way, because most times we make decisions that are not based on scientific evidence. Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about the opportunity that scientific research and development can and will offer to nation building. With concerns raised, please allow me to impress this Parliament, this Honourable House, on the importance of and the move to influence a paradigm shift in thinking on the choices and decisions based on credible scientific evidence that can create opportunities for the betterment of our people. That time is now, not later. The world is undergoing a transformation that continues to shape our future, and as such, we need to be prepared for that. We can take thoughtful action by directing revenues and from our extractive industry and investing in scientific research to inform and influence our development choices. As a nation, Papua New Guinea needs to transform into a knowledge-based, innovative-driven economy and society, Mr. Assistant Speaker. I am talking about positioning scientific research and development as a key driver in our development choices. It is only through scientific research and development that we can embrace and secure a stable growth that is resilient and sustainable. Mr. Assistant Speaker, Papua New Guinea needs to build its capability to support scientific research and development. Dr. Kulala Mulung, the acting CEO and at the same time chairman of the Science and Technology Council in my ministry, advises me that investment in research, science and technology currently stands at 0.03% of the total GDP, 0.03 of the gross domestic product. This is shamefully low for a country so abundantly blessed with resource capital and resources. As Minister responsible, I will not let this matter go unnoticed. We must give significance to research and development. I'm very determined to see the investment funding improved, thus incrementally moving the decimal point leftward from 0.03 to 0.3 at least, and eventually reaching 1% as an interim measure that we are making some positive start in that area. In comparison, let me also inform this Parliament that other member countries of the Organization for Economic Cooperation, Development, or in short OECD, invest up to 5% of their GDP into research and development programs. These countries now enjoy flourishing growth in economy and social well-being and a safer environment. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the relationship between research and development investments and strong socio-economic growth is directly proportional. When you put more money or less money in the research and development, you will see the same reflected in the progress of socio-economic development of the people. For instance, the tiger economies experience real growth and industrialization due to the huge investment in research and development. The statistics presented at the 15th Asian Chemical Congress, or ACC, held in Singapore on August 19 to 23 in 2013, about 20 years back, but 10 years back. I got that to show that after that, now those economies have grown because they have invested in research and development. The statistics indicate that the emerging economies are driving global research and development growth, and the investment in R&D that supersedes that of advanced economies, such as the United States and Europe. Citing from the article is titled, "Emerging Economies Drive Global Research and Development Growth," published by R&D magazine in 2009. As said to the president of the Singapore Institute of Chemistry, Mr. T.S. Andy points out that R&D development investments as GDP equivalent are the following. Japan's 3.41% that they are committing to research and development, exceeded the U.S. with 2.8%, China with 1.5%, and Asia in general at 1.95%, also surpassed the rest of the world. Outside of the United States and Europe with 1.23%. Mr. Assistant Speaker, in terms of global share of total R&D spending, Mr. Ho said Asia stands at 34.6%, caught up with the USA 34.8%, whereas in combination with Japan 12.3%, China 12.2%, even exceeded Europe's 23.2%. The upward trend of R&D investment in many Asian countries, notably China, India, South Korea, and Singapore, have been evident since 2000. Education, research, and development come hand in hand as a package. You cannot teach without researching. We cannot have universities that impart knowledge but lack research. We cannot have vocational centers that imparted training but have no technological innovation in them. They go together. Recent data from World Bank suggests that many Asian countries take a stand that investment in education is the best means to prepare for the future. This is evident in countries like Hong Kong, 24.1% research, Saudi Arabia, 193%, huge, Thailand, 20.3%, UAE, United Arab Emirates, 23.4%, and Nepal, 19.56%, which exceeded even Scandinavian countries like Finland, 12.4%, Norway, 60.1%, Sweden, 12.9%, and the USA, 13.8%. This education and R&D priority will further strengthen the R&D manpower based in Asia, Mr. Or stated. So these are some statistics that shows if we are using some of these Asian countries as analogies to look at ourselves in Papua New Guinea, they do not grow for nothing. They take a very scientific approach in the progress, and you see them, and we talk about those progresses that we see, and I'm giving those strategies to see how much we are spending in research or whatever. So our focus is on in research and development in our own country. Mr. Assistant Speaker, these statistics I have deliberately quoted to indicate that the Asian economies have flourished and have double digits in the GDP growth consistently for the last 2.3 decades, or 2 to 3 decades, as a result of investments in our education, research, and development. China and India, in particular, have taken scientific growth in their development. Singapore invests very heavily in research and development, and so does Malaysia and Thailand. The growth and resilience are remarkable. Papua New Guinea must awaken now. We must awaken to that reality. Awaken now to invest properly and heavily in research and development. Let Papua New Guinea take a scientific approach more than just political approach. Not than just popular theory approach, but let's take a serious scientific approach in a development progress. Mr. Assistant Speaker, let me assure this Parliament and our nation that we at Papua New Guinea Science and Technology Council, a scientific authority purposely established with a mandate to take charge of these challenges and opportunities. The Council is represented by very eminent Papua New Guinean research scientists, scholars, and very seasoned and cultural research and industry leaders. The different fields of sciences represented by the Council include agriculture and livestock, energy, engineering, environment, and climate change, general sciences, humanities, marine and aquatic, societal, health and medicine, and public policy. The Council is headed by Dr. Kulala Mulung, who also has so many years of scientific research experience and academic work himself, who was appointed by the National Executive Council to take this lead on his front. And as chair of the Council, he stands as a chief scientific advisor to the government on scientific matters. Standing together with him on this course, Mr. Assistant Speaker, you will also find that there are other very highly educated and esteemed professional Papua New Guineans serving leadership and managerial roles at our research institutions and deans of research schools at our universities. They are very cultured people who have earned the admiration of and the commendation of their peers as well as across society. And they stand ready to provide us with credible advice to lead the direction I'm advocating on the floor of Parliament, at least taken by the Marape Rosso government in the scientific approach. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the Science and Technology Council is a scientific authority that provides an advisory role to the government on issues relating to scientific research, technology, and innovation. As stipulated by the Science and Technology Council Act of 1992, the Council serves to facilitate, inform, and adopt science policies based on sound evidence, underpinned by relevant and appropriate science research and technological innovations that may apply to Papua New Guinea. In addition, Mr. Assistant Speaker, the Science and Technology Council mandate is required to provide both lateral coordination across different sectors of the government service delivery system and vertical coordination up and down in the government scientific policy system and the processes. Mr. Assistant Speaker, as leaders, we must demand for and seek research outcomes that can inform our policy debates. To do this, we must also provide resources to equip the Science and Technology Council, which in turn can support our scientists to conduct their research to inform and provide us the needed advice. Yes, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I do concur that there is always a philosophical debate about whether research must be motivated by curiosity or, on the other end, driven by development needs. I would prefer to think that we must demand both, as they contribute to the total output value of research and development. Curiosity-driven research contributes to the generation of new knowledge, ideas, and thinking that shape and enlighten our society. Outputs from such research can find application in our knowledge and education system. On this front, I would like to think that our young children, and as I speak, I'm very happy to see our young children out there, and they are science students, I think. Our young children must be educated with a knowledge that is contextually relevant and coherent, gel into their upbringing. The knowledge system should anchor the environment, culture, and heritage so that they gain a greater appreciation of the ecosystem they live in, and a conscious mind is awakened to take ownership of responsibility to the environment and society with due diligence, Mr. Assistant Speaker. The second kind of thinking and research is about scientific research in addressing development challenges and creating opportunities, which is the primary concern throughout this discussion. As leaders, it is time now for us to demand and draw advice that is based on scientific research to inform our policy debate, and I am quite happy to organize such an arrangement where scientists and policymakers to meet and converse on specific issues affecting our country. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Acting Speaker, I was organizing that for earlier this year, but couldn't eventually because this paper was still progressing through these honorable hours. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Acting Speaker, please bear with me. I wish to report on the progress to date in this sector. Number one, legislative mandate. Mr. Speaker, let me focus back on the work of Science and Technology Council and the role it plays in the country's development. The Council Secretariat was established as per NEC Decision 219/2013 during the 2014 to 2016 period, with the founding council established in 2017 NEC Decision 32/2017. And the council has a broad function, and they include, if I may just go through them. Number one, advising the government and CACC, or Central Agency Coordination Committee, on scientific and technological policy matters, including science advice. Two, development and implementation of national policies and framework for science, technology and innovation, and setting of national research priorities. Three, collection and analysis of national research, science and technology data and information for application and commercialization. Four, coordination of national R&D program and activities of all sectors. Five, development of domestic and international cooperations and collaborations in research, science and technology and innovation. Six, scientific and technological assessment of the social, economic, cultural and environmental impacts of development project. Seven, facilitate science and technology services and innovation, information in service delivery and implementation. 8, management of government funding for R&D, research training, science awards, scholarships, conferences and publications. 9, monitoring, reviewing, and assessment of R&D programs and return on investment, and finally, development of new policy interventions to promote innovation results, technology diffusion, integration, and transfer this into Papua New Guinea knowledge pool and development opportunities. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Mr. Acting Speaker, having cited the fundamental roles and responsibilities of the Council, I wish to connect these intent statements and our potential and opportunities as a country. Papua New Guinea is geographically well placed and well resourced. We have more rainfall in a year. We have more sunlight than our neighbors north and south of the equator. We do have sufficient land and soil for agriculture, biodiversity, water, mineral, marine resources. These are primary production factors that are underutilized, not fully exploited given the potential. In addition to this, as a nation, as a country, we are abundantly blessed with so many natural resources and the diversity of ethnic cultures, which in my view is the basis for and sets a solid foundation to build up capacity for growth. The Science and Technology Council endorsed several strategic focus areas to contribute to our Vision 2050 aspiration, which is for a smart, wise, fair, healthy, happy, and sustainable future through scientific research and technology and innovations. And in this junction, Mr. Acting Speaker, I commend some of our senior leaders like Sepuga Temun and others that went through in establishing such very important roadmap for this country's progress. And some of those things we're going to achieve under this category are the following. Number 1, science, technology and innovation in the Economic Development Plan, MDTP3 and MTDP4. I'm glad National Planning Minister and Finance Minister endorsed that, so that we do our research within that spectrum and within that framework. 2, national knowledge and innovation system, including national research agenda and R&D funding. 3, knowledgeable people and society, including promotion of access and use of scientific research information through research data and knowledge hub. 4, partnerships and engagement in science and innovation, including support to activities that promote collaboration to ensure knowledge and technology transfer, data sharing, and identification of selective foreign direct investments to build domestic capacity. And fifthly, ensure integrated social, environmental, and cultural sustainability practices with emphasis on products and practices that meet environmental best practices, equitable benefit sharing, and promote social license. Mr. Acting Speaker, consistent with this, the Council proposed 3 overarching policy statements that needs to be addressed to ensure an effective and efficient research innovation ecosystem, and these include the Science, Technology and Innovation Strategic Plan and the National Research Agenda. We must have a plan and an agenda that guides us to carry out this mandate. Mr. Acting Speaker, the National Science, Technology and Innovation Strategic Plan, let me just outline some of these features of this plan. Mr. Speaker, to bring these broad scientific research and development statements into focus and fully understand the extent and impact within the context of national development aspirations, including Vision 2050, Medium-Term Development Plan 3 and Plan 4, the Science and Technology Council endorsed a draft National Science, Technology and Innovation Strategy Plan. The strategic plan sets out with a mission to develop an overarching knowledge and innovative system that seeks to increase the outcome and efficiency of research to meet socio-economic welfare needs of Papua New Guineans. The plan seeks to promote scientific endeavors for knowledge and innovation, emphasizing the following. The plan emphasizes 4 areas: national endowment, developing and adding value to our national endowment that includes people, national resources, national heritage or culture, traditional and local knowledge. We must not lose our languages and our cultures and all that. Those are very, very important. Even if we speak English, let's speak within the context of Papua New Guinea dialect, not speak like others. We have to maintain our identity. That's number 1. Number 2, research, excellence, and governance. Things like, my brother, you're thinking good, that's good. I like that, please come over here. That's more Papua New Guinean. That's what I mean, Mr. Acting Speaker. Research, excellence, and governance. Promoting excellence and governance in research best practices through appropriate legislation, effective regulation and policy, responsible leadership in research management, and collaborative partnership. 3 is research discoveries and inventions, investing in quality and relevant research in addressing social challenges, promoting research integrity, adhering to global standards and ethical practices, and ensuring state-of-the-art research facilities. And fourthly, translation, development, and commercialization, promoting translation, development, commercialization, application of research discoveries and products through testing and trialing, patent filing, IP protection, commercial assessment, the establishment of the knowledge centers, innovation and entrepreneurial hubs. On that fourth point, let me just also add here that the many scientists in the world that come into Papua New Guinea to do research, and we welcome them. But we want them to come coordinated through our chief scientist, which is the Science Secretariat that Mr. Speaker spoke, so that in that way we protect our intelligence, what we own. If you do find a knowledge here in Papua New Guinea by doing all these experiments and doing the research, then Papua New Guinea owns that patent right and doesn't go to somebody else outside. So these are the programs that you're seeing in under these areas, the strategic plan. Now, second is the National Research Agenda. The agendas are the following, Mr. Speaker. The National Research Agenda is endorsed by National Executive Council, DCN 120/2023 for immediate implementation. The Council, together with research institutions, the University Research School, and the private sector will all contribute to the implementation of the National Research Agenda. The draft National Research Agenda provides direction and priority areas for scientific inquiries in the following areas. 1, these are the research areas. These are the scope within which we do the research. Research to, number 1, research to improve knowledge, skill, and nurturing talents to embrace or enhance the well-being of citizens. 2, research outcomes to drive innovation and economic growth. 3, to build research systems and processes to improve relationships, networks, and linkages between stakeholders. Research to strengthen national security and national and global cooperation. 5, research to improve knowledge and to protect our critical ecosystem. 6, research to preserve our culture and build inclusive communities. And 7, to provide effective and efficient coordination across lateral and vertical direction. At this juncture, Mr. Speaker, if I may also point that the Research Institute or Secretary will walk through all the line departments and agents to work in partnership with our local systems, institutions in place, as well as those that come in, so that we regulate the research taking place, so the research is coordinated through the chief scientist of Papua New Guinea and not in a very uncontrolled, unmanaged kind of a research that we see has been going on. Mr. Acting Speaker, the National Research Agenda recognizes that linking the discovery or research process with the service delivery system is a critical factor in ensuring the effectiveness of research system that can deliver solutions to problems, challenges, and the creation of opportunities. The research system recognizes the prominence of universities and research institutions in this regard, as well as in building partnerships for more collaboration between the private sector and financial institutions to accelerate research endeavors and scale out. Number 3, research, National Research Code of Conduct and Ethics Guidelines. Mr. Acting Speaker, in addition to the foundational policies alluded to earlier, the Council has also endorsed the National Research Code and Conduct and Ethics Guidelines. This is the policy statement and it addresses research integrity and the rules of responsibilities of institutions and researchers in the engagement of research in the country. The Council acknowledges the value of research work that is conducted with integrity and due care of duty and the outcome of research that will impact society. Institutions are required to adopt the governance and best practice in all aspects of research. 4. National Research and Development Grants Guidelines. Mr. Speaker, providing grants for research purposes is legislated function of the Council. The National Research and Development Grants Guidelines sets the premise for granting and management of research grants. The guidelines ensure that the research proposal is screened for scientific merit that seeks the rationale, justification, relevance, innovation, originality, and methodical approach of the research proposal, which then forms the basis for the approval or refusal of the research project. I've seen many research works that are carried out through various institutions like UPNC, but I found there was no coordination, the funds were never managed properly, etc. So therefore this focus addresses those issues. Number 5, foreign research approved guideline. Mr. Speaker, Science and Technology is the mandated statutory body that provides the approval of foreign research in the country. The guidelines of the approval process has been developed and is in use when assessing foreign research requests. The guidelines require that research activities in Papua New Guinea are consistent with the national research agenda and are in compliance with ethical standards of research as outlined in the National Research Code of Conduct and Ethics Guidelines. Mr. Acting Speaker, as we all know, Papua New Guinea has been a hotspot for foreign scientists and researchers in all fields of science without a significant contributions to the development of the country. In its scientific studies undertaken by foreign scientists and researchers in Papua New Guinea have contributed greatly to the advance of global knowledge. A good example is the research work on Kuru, a neurological degenerative disease that affected the Foray people in Eastern Islands province. That research work provided the initial basic medical science understanding of human prion infectious protein disease that is similar to mad cow disease. Prions are known to be the main cause of the bovine spongiform BSE mad cow disease. Number 6, national research programs and KITE, or knowledge, innovation, technology, and enterprise development. Mr. Speaker, I would like to turn my attention now to the research projects that have been undertaken. What interim results are informing us about the current issues and government development priorities. The KITE program also supports the development of research capacity in our research institutions and universities to address national research priorities, develop a framework for networking amongst the research institutions, universities, industry, and bilateral partners, develop strategies for commercialization of research outcomes, for the establishment of technology-based small to medium enterprises, and develop strategies and guidelines for intellectual property, benefit sharing, and ethics in research to guarantee and secure healthy and happy society. The program is designed to motivate innovation and entrepreneurship that set the pace to reach the desired aspiration expressed in Vision 2050, Mr. Acting Speaker. The scientific research program are built around these 4 thematic areas. Theme 1 focuses on the research topics around people, society, and the knowledge system of the people. Under this theme, the Council endorsed supporting science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, in education system, education primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. The Council Secretariat has contributed to the education subsector plan, and more broadly, the oncoming MTD4. What is not outcoming now is already been launched. It's completed on that medium-term development plan 4. The Council already has initiated traditional knowledge programs, especially associated with traditional technologies and innovation, and how these systems of knowledge and innovations can lead to upscaling and commercialization and make contribution to economic, social, and environmental development. Theme 2 focuses on a research topic under green sciences and includes National Biotechnology, Material and Chemical Sciences that sets the direction for research in all areas of research spanning across agriculture, forestry, biodiversity, and terrestrial ecosystem, including fauna and flora. Under this theme, the Science and Technology Council endorsed both material and chemical science programs. Many of our biodiversity, Mr. Acting Speaker, our resources contain a large pool of organic chemicals, including paracetamol, nutraceutical, and fiber resources that can be harvested and used in the manufacture of useful products and commodities. Theme 3, Blue Science, including marine, riverine systems, and aquatic. Under this program, the Science Technology Council contributed greatly to the oceanic policy, particularly in the areas of marine sciences and marine technology. Theme 4, Earth, Space, Energy. Under this program, several renewable energy or clean related study topics were endorsed and studied, including solar, wind, waves, thermal, and biofuel. One of our ongoing research projects on biofuel is currently being studied by the TVWAN University. The project uses waste kitchen oil, which contributes to zero-level carbon emissions if we use it. I'm delighted, Mr. Acting Speaker, to inform the Parliament, this Honourable House of the People, that the Mara Barroso government appropriated a budget of 2 million kina in 2021, and again 5 million kina in 2022. These funds have been directed at developing several programs, activities to contribute to the total outputs in research and development. Scientific details of which are as follows. And Mr. Speaker, what I intend to do is, there are 2 more pages there, but there the Honourable House can read it. And I'd like to go to the conclusion. So in that way, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to bore you to here. You picking a man to me, got respect to, and all house too. So all can talk start, please. All member can read him because I'm all the school man here. The school Mary and the school Mary, and all the bloody school man stop. Okay, now me conclude him talk here. Me conclude him talk pisin. You looking for can talk him last time you looking for the news or talk some American scientists come to kiss him. This when something comes to the sky on top, or meteorite or meteor control or slower next to me. Now me salim ship scientists from Iblong Golang happen. So you go find him. One something will make him. Now me realize him will send me come to the process of Papua New Guinea. But with due respect, this little line was a scaling and galasim kind research for example come is when the Matun Journal's office. For some reason it is there. So the Technology and Science Secretariat, the chief scientist of PNG, didn't know about that until time we look him long paper, and then he had come to the process and got stuck in the AG's office, and then our rep that is in the AG's office comes back to us a few days later. Then I send him down to meet His Excellency the Ambassador of the U.S. to Papua New Guinea and said, look, can you explain, probably explain how you did that, intervening to collect some specimen without coming to the chief scientist of Papua New Guinea. Now, they've given a report and we are working with them. I'm giving an example where people do things when you do not have that position or that mandate given to Papua New Guinea scientists. And I say Science and Technology Secretariat, headed by Dr. Mulung, is the chief scientist of Papua New Guinea. So now, after some time of bypassing this body, now we humbly and quietly but determinedly, Mr. Acting Speaker, we are talking to all those research people. Like there's another research program I know ongoing in Medang called the Binitang Research Institute. That one too will have to be guided through this process. And other research taking place. I know there's another research that was done out there, I think, in the political study out in Hela province somewhere. And then, of course, we had some other unfortunate events. We'd like to know who is studying where, on what topic. Is it within the research agenda that I have articulated in this policy? And are we going in through the process that we're establishing here? So, Mr. Acting Speaker, you will find the Mara Barroso government will be putting his foot down on people doing research in this country without going through this established regulatory process to see that what they're doing, it belongs to Papua New Guinea. For instance, if people come and study herbs here, we'd like to partner with, because Papua New Guinea has its own researchers, men, women, scientists here, so that when we develop that knowledge, it becomes a property of Papua New Guinea. By law, I like to protect that. So we are not only driving education at the low echelon and at the high echelon, but we also driving innovative thinking, creative thinking, and applying those skills to researching to develop more knowledge that can support us in development agenda to make policy decisions, or even other areas, because we are curious to know. For instance, will there be another pandemic coming on board? Would it be COVID-19, another variant, or something else? Those are things that when we have a body like this positioned, then they can have that proactiveness in seeing things to lead us 10 steps, 20 steps ahead of us. So we know it's coming and not manage things by crisis. And therefore, I strongly, Mr. Speaker, say that this Parliament supports the Mara Barroso government in the scientific approach we are taking, because we must now start to make decisions based on science, facts, and evidence, not ad hoc political popular theory decisions that we've been making so far. We must now focus on a scientific approach of development that the Prime Minister is taking the lead through myself as humbly trying to support Prime Minister as well as this Parliament and Papua New Guinea to see if we can become scientific. Thank you very much, Mr. Acting Speaker. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, children, for listening to me. God bless you all.
The Honourable Governor for NCD.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, to give me opportunity to. Oh, sorry, Acting Speaker, but I want to move that we take note of the Minister's paper, and I want to speak on the debate.
Make your statement.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker. Firstly, I want to commend the Prime Minister and the government, especially the Prime Minister, for formulating the KPIs so that our ministers have a clear direction about their terms of reference under their portfolio, and they can, prepare a statement like this, strategic papers, working papers, and present to Parliament, so our people and Parliament knows, how they are performing and delivering on their terms of reference. And I say this because Acting Speaker, this is my fourth term in Parliament, and I want to put on record that it's not a practice been done in the past. And it's a practice that we should welcome, because it gets us to deliver to a high standard. Many a times, I can say about the 9th Parliament, 8th Parliament, 10th Parliament I was in, some minister akan tok-tok. Through the life of Parliament, they hardly present any paper or documents, and then they take advantage of the question time to deliver policy matters, which is not the appropriate time. They should say yes or no, or maybe walking on Nogado, give some explanation, or that's all. But some of them all got to policy which should be in this appropriate time, where government and we got time long and long. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that's government business time. So me commend him, Prime Minister and the government for this wonderful initiative. Secondly, I want to commend the Minister, Honourable Don Paulier. It's a comprehensive presentation. It covers so many areas, and again, this is the first time in my 3 terms and now 4th term, I have not, seen or heard this type of presentation in this particular space, scientific research and development. So we should commend him and welcome this presentation and support him more importantly. It's very, very important. It's very important because without data and facts, we cannot make very strategic decisions that help us to resolve, issues that we face in our country, from basic to complicated, overarching issues. From the time you miss a fire, nothing. We make a lot of assumptions in this country on the economy, on law and order, on population, on environment, on poverty. We make assumptions. And this is not right. We must stop this type of narrative or conversation or decision making, Mr. Acting Speaker. Importantly, decision making must be based on facts, scientific facts, proven facts. I want to highlight, a particular leader of the world who operates on this basis. Before former Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, you will see when she goes to their parliament, she's got a folder. In that folder, Mr. Acting Speaker, she's got all the facts about Germany. You name it, on the economy, on, environmental, on social issues, on whatever, GDP, crime. She's got the basic data with armed every day to respond to questions in Parliament or make decisions in the Cabinet. That's what we need. That's what the Prime Minister needs. That's what all the ministers need. And all of us, governors, people need him too. So I want to commend the Minister in that respect. And more importantly, he is asking us that we must start to think about moving our country forward to become to transit into a knowledge-based, innovative-driven economy and society. This is about time we start doing that. Mr. Acting Speaker, one of the important leaders of the world came and visited recently, thanks to the Prime Minister, President Macron. He reminded us about the challenges we face in the world now, especially the economy and the environment. He reminded us that the economy that we are pursuing now is not a sustainable one. It creates too many problems, too many crises. This capitalist neoliberal economy is creating for us. And the solution for the future, up there at the Variarata National Park, it's come out on the media, and you may get him. He reminded us that we can't go back to the past, but we need to be innovative and creative about the future. Yeah. This is very, very significant, pivotal statement that he has made. And you be leaders of Parliament too. We need to think about this seriously. Plenty of time you may be blindly walking nothing. The economy of our country is in crisis. Global economy too is in crisis. We can't provide adequate employment, or this economy that we have introduced cannot provide for all our people. It can't, simply can't. You may talk about employment here, it can't, Mr. Acting Speaker, it can't. And that's why it's very important for us to maintain a dual economy, a traditional economy as our ancestors lived before, and at the same time this introduced economy because government needs to generate income. Now, the traditional economy cannot on its own lift the quality of life of our people. And so how are we going to make these two balance? How are we going to have a traditional economy and a modern economy or cash economy coexisting? This is the challenge you may face. And so the Minister is taking us in the right direction. When we also talk about now, you may talk crime is increased and so on. Some of the time there's some upsurge of crime, like some level of Port Moresby. Then everybody concludes that Port Moresby is unsafe. But most of the time, Port Moresby is safe, but one incident no good and so. Somewhere in Nerimbao, then we reach a conclusion, nothing. We are not guided by facts. The evidence that is put forward to us about 1 year, also them, must be also them. And for that matter, the rest of the country. We just conclude that Port Moresby is unsafe, or Papua New Guinea is unsafe. And we create a negative narrative. And that's why it's important for us to move to scientific and facts-based society, facts-based decision. So, Mr. Acting Speaker, all this initiative that the ministers come up with, we need to commend him. Legislative change, we need to, support this legislative change. And of course the funding. I think this is most critical, funding. We must start to invest. Prime Minister, start to invest. I know you got plenty challenge. Law and order, infrastructure, health, education. Some of the time, natural disaster come, affecting line and we have to get the money from left and put it to right or put it to whatever, we didn't plan for it. So all these challenges we are faced, but if we are going to move towards a greater future, smarter future, here's our 2050 vision, the seven pillars for the 2050 vision here. We can't achieve them, Mr. Acting Speaker, unless we invest in science, research, real data compilation, building up the capacity of all these research institutes, also institutions like national statistics. National statistics, yeah, when kind of business stuff. When kind of statistics they get, compiling, and after they compile it, also game laws up. As it comes to the government now. Last time when we asked the question on employment, Minister for Employment, she gave some, assumption or ideas, but she could have all give us real facts if national statistics is really compiling all these important critical data. Now, you may not have to, how many, we are told that our population growth is 3.1%. So is it true or maybe increase? Or? Now, national UN FPA is telling us that our population is 17 million. Now you or plenty, some doubting this law. But me at this time, me round what must be. Hey, me looking at some population and increase here. So maybe our population growth, Mr. Acting Speaker, has gone up beyond 3.1. Because we looking at some Papua New Guinea. No Friday last week, me like talk about business here. Maybe you may fail the business, but population, yeah, you may know stop the working population. But we need to know about the population and the growth rate and what the exact population is now so that we can plan properly. How many schools we're going to build? How many beds in the hospital we need to have? How many jobs we're going to create? We're going to create for the future, or if we can't, then let's make some really strategic decision. How much pressure is it going to put on the resources that we have? A lot of our resources, Mr. Acting Speaker, they are non-renewable. All the gas, the gold, the copper, and by pennies. So if the population increase. But you may look at the model in the future, what will be there to enable them to sustain themselves or have a quality life better than what we have now? And then maybe we know that gold is going to run out, oil is going to run out, copper is going to run out, gas is going to run out. Then we make the decision that needs to be made, like creating this sovereign wealth fund. That's some decision that we made, but we have not actioned it. Yeah. So are we thinking about our children for the future? Are we serious or not? And I suspect that we are not serious because we don't have real basic data and information, scientific information that will guide us. We are just making this assumption after assumption, and then no wonder you may complain on social media. Our people do, you totally all pile up, nothing. Move more by emotion. We are making decisions based on emotion, based on assumption, based on, just rumors, not real facts, not scientific data. So, contribution from me, Mr. Acting Speaker, me got plenty more talk, me right now we stop, The world is in progress now, yeah. Mr. Acting Speaker, Minister, the world is going to artificial intelligence. It's going faster than us. The Chinese, they are using artificial intelligence to create things. We can't catch up with them. The Americans too. So you mean like industrialized kind of same? Yeah. We can't compete against these people. They are probably 30 years or 50 years ahead of us because they are doing the right thing, investing in the right thing. And if we cannot compete on a scientific level, technological level, digital level, then we got to make a decision about maybe our economy, you may just be a primary industry economy, that's all. Mostly you may pretend to go for industrialization, Mr. Acting Speaker, because maybe we can do it, because they have invested already, they are far advanced than us. It's not to mean that they are smarter than us. Papua New Guinea, you mean smart too. We got the brains. We can become good scientists and researchers, and we can become great professionals, but the decision that needs to be made here to arm ourselves to get us to do the right thing here, we are not doing it. And it rests on all of us here, leaders and members, leaders of our people, members of parliament. Prime Minister, you are leading. We are going in the right direction. Let's make the real decision, which is to support the minister. He needs all the support that he could have, and I commend the minister. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Pomio.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Sorry, Acting Speaker. Firstly, I want to commend the Minister for this important paper, this on the scientific research and development. I want to thank the Marape Rosso government for establishing again the research agenda again this year. Just looking at some of the reports by United Nations, UNDP, saying that our HDI, Human Development Index, time Papua New Guinea government launching a 2050 vision in 2010. Like example, Loyimi, our HDI ranking was at 148 out of 186 countries in 2010, time PNG 2050 vision was launched. Last year, this HDI Loyimi declined 155, 188 countries. So question Loyimi also, what a mimic system lo country where you can vet him or look survey lo can report also before lo only publish him lo United Nations report or not. Now Myanmar's true long RM today also mimic this la council list up. So the Science and Technology Council that's established in 2013, 2014. Me believe also there's like council workload too. As is the minister presented today, implementation of plenty of plan or report imigat. Kind of MTDP online finish now nubla come up again. MTDP 3, National Health Plan, and we finished 2. There's one that the new one that was launched last year. 2050 vision is now in its 12 years of its implementation. Who are the responsible government agencies to actually monitor the implementation of these reports? And we think these reports, example, despite the fact that we think improvement in our GDP, people are looking for some, but despite this improvement in GDP, you looking for some, you got decline along HDI or Human Development Index standing below United Nations report. So my question is, who does the vetting or looks over or can report also before we publish him international reports? Once this is actually published, I'm also reflecting country performance below me. We are seeing improvement to our literacy rates, but then there's this decline in our poverty rate as well. These are some of the reports that are actually reflecting us on the international scene. We have a Sustainable Development Goals 2030. These are some of the reports that the system were in place, Guantemala, NSO, and intergovernment agencies to actually work together to establish this and look at some of these reports before it is actually published at the international level. So, Mr. Acting Speaker, I'm just saying that it is really important today. I've been actually asking this kind of question to myself. Do we have a system in place to actually vet these kind of reports done by international agencies before it is actually published in the international reports? So, the Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science, Technology, thank you very much for this report today. We know that there is a Science Research Council in place. I believe they are, according to their tasks that are actually given to us by the Minister today, they are also responsible for also looking at the implementation of our various reports or plans by the government. We need to see the summary of the implementation of various reports before NAPLA report or NAPLA planning in those law as a government. So I believe that we are in the right direction. It's really good today to know that this kind of council that's in place to actually see where we are going, where we are tracking, where the government's money is going, and reporting so that we are also heading towards the common vision of 2050 vision is to improve our HDI by 2050. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Governor of Morbe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the leave to speak on the important paper presented by the learned Minister for Science and Technology. I thank him for his statement. I think this is the first time in my time in the Parliament that I have had the benefit of listening and seeing the presentation of a minister who gives a comprehensive report on the importance of science and technology in this country. Minister, I commend you, highly commend you for your presentation. I fully concur with my friend, the Governor for NCD, Honourable the Powers Parker, for his comment. I fully support and concur with your comments. I share with you the sentiments that you have expressed and all the other speakers have said. Mr. Acting Speaker, science is a very important topic, and it's a big topic, and everything in this world is controlled by science. We cannot speak more and all about science. Few we can speak. And in relation to the presentation by the Minister, I'd like to make some comments. I'm very thankful that the Department of Science and Technology have set up this council which will monitor the scientific research in this country and scientific recommendations to this country in whatever field of science in this country, and not just the science but the technology. This council will also be responsible for the new technologies that we are going to innovate and invent and propose to the utility of those innovations to this country. And it's very important, and it is the right way that we have the committee established. And the committee will fully, I am sure, will deal with all of the scientific and technology matters. Now, the issues that I'm going to address, Mr. Acting Speaker, is in relation to food in this country. Food is a very important matter. If we don't consume food, we will cease to live on the planet. And that is why the science in relation to food is very important. Now, by the effect of the climate change in this country, Mr. Acting Speaker, many of the food that we consume are becoming extinct. In the crop food and in the livestock food that we consume. The traditional food that we had until now is gradually becoming extinct, and also the animal foods that we had gradually becoming extinct. They're becoming extinct because by virtue of the climate change. The effect of the climate change is affecting our food chain. And the Minister was quite right, by the system of ecosystem that we know, we depend on each other. The animals depend on us, and we depend on the animals, and everyone depends on each other by virtue of the ecosystem that our Father in heaven have established. Now, in this country, it's quite vivid that many of the cocoa are becoming extinct. Example, I put cocoa. In the traditional time, we had variety of cocoas in the village. And we use those cocoas at the appropriate times. There's some cocoas that you can dig them, put them there, they will last long. There's some cocoas which just decays. So variety of cocoas we had, but now it seems the majority of our cocoa species are becoming extinct. What we have is the crossbreed by the NARI and the other scientific institution. And same is true, Mr. Acting Speaker, for other crop foods that we have had. And they become extinct. And we need scientific research into those areas to make sure that the foods become extinct must be protected. The genes must be protected there so it can be used in the future. We have to do it. We have to spend money to make sure that that happens, Mr. Acting Speaker. To this date, the NARI, National Agricultural Research Institute, have been complaining, and that is a genuine complaint, and it's the complaint on behalf of the people of the country. They're complaining on our behalf. The food are becoming, and clearly becoming, extinct. And they need more preservation of genes of those foods in the scientific library or scientific storage. That requires money. That requires a scientific knowledge to make sure that they are properly and adequately and safely looked after. And that area we are not serious. Food. And on top of that, because some of those food, when we are not careful, they become extinct. What are we going to eat in terms of crops? What are we going to eat? Where is the food? Where is the food that's going to supplement? In England, Mr. Acting Speaker, in England, they're doing it. They're now farming grasshoppers. In the Markham Valley, grasshopper is useless, but in England, grasshopper is becoming a very important food for the future. When the climate change, gets all the grasshopper out, Mr. Acting Speaker. So they're doing big money is spent in Europe, in England particularly, to make sure that there's some other animals that we didn't eat, and some other food that we never ate, and we never knew that scientifically we can consume them and survive. We have to make experiment to find out, do the research to find out. There's a one tree standing over there, there's a tree standing over there, you've never eaten a leaf yet. You've never tested eating the bark yet. But through the science we will know that we can consume the bark, we can consume the leaf, we can consume the fruit. More money must spend to do research. Research to the food, the crops that we know, we don't know that they're vitally important for our consumption, of our survival on the planet Earth. We never know, but science will help us to know. Science will help us to know, Mr. Acting Speaker. That is why we have to put more money, the Honourable Prime Minister. You never know, all the cocos in Tari and the Morabit is going to become extinct. What are you going to eat, Mr. Acting Speaker? What are you going to eat to survive? So some plants out there need to be experimented. And then I recommend strongly that we put more money into the food. And the animals as well. The animals as well. In the Great Britain now, they are now producing meat in the laboratory, Mr. Acting Speaker. So by the time all the animals in Europe becomes extinct, they will start producing meat in the laboratory with the leaves and anything. They're going to produce a meat. It's done now, but we're not doing it in this country, Mr. Acting Speaker. So we better do it. We should put more money in there to make sure that that in the event that all the animals becomes extinct, we got animals produced from the leaves in the laboratory and in the factory that you're going to consume. And science is going to get us there. Nothing but the science, Mr. Acting Speaker. And another thing that I want to say is about the sickness, Mr. Acting Speaker. There are all sorts of sickness in this country. Some sickness, the medicine we know, and some sickness that we don't know the medicine. That is why we just say, "Empochen mania, empochen kirimemia." This is what we are saying. But I mean, empochen kirimem. Through the science, you know, you will find out the sickness. Sickness, right? Sickness, the real sickness. And also we will in science will help us to find a cure of that sickness. Mr. Acting Speaker, we have to put money in there, do more research. Like in my area, people just grow thin. All come up one. They go to the hospital, the doctors in Angao said, "You haven't got a sickness." Hey, I'm thin, look at me, I'm thin. I'm supposed to have sickness. Something's going to cause this thing. People die in my village. They said, no, it's not a TB, it's not a HIV. And what is it, Mr. Acting Speaker? There is a sick, but that sick is unknown. And science will make us know it. Science will make us know it. That is why some sickness like that, I'm just talking about my village about that sickness, but there could be plenty of sickness that's coming out there. We don't have the medicine for it. We don't know whether this is a sickness or just a wind or what, Mr. Acting Speaker. But there is a sick. Through science, Mr. Minister, through science we'll find. So we put more money into areas where there is a symptoms of sickness, but we don't know the actual sickness, Mr. Acting Speaker. So more money should be spent on in the sickness department, in the area of all sorts of sickness. And another sickness that I said, Mr. Acting Speaker, is about the stun. Now people are growing too small. People are growing too small. Once upon a time, the Chimbus were giants. When they came to the village, the ground by movement also come no place, yeah. No company more when again come no place. They came to the village where the ground move here. Couple of months I come here. Today, the Chimbus and the Agen and the Minch people, they look small like Moravians, or even smaller than Moravians now, Mr. Acting Speaker. What is causing all of this thing? What is causing all of this thing? Is it food or what? What? Doctor hasn't explained to me what is it. All right? It is science, Mr. Acting Speaker. It is science who's going to tell us. Science. And I'm sure the Minister, you will make sure that our council, but you're the man in charge. Our council there, scientific council there, will devise a mission in which to make sure that we get the government of this country to put in money in there to do research. What is causing the stunness in the human being? And I'm just thinking that one day the population, particularly in the village, will be wiped out and there will be no rugby players and soccer players and all because they're too small to play those games. Mr. Acting Speaker, only science will help us. Nothing but the science will help us. We need more research into those areas. Starting. And then we are spending more money, Mr. Prime Minister, not just you, but all the conservative Prime Minister and leaders in the past. We're spending more money on the infrastructure, more money on big roads, more money on big bridges, big everything. We want to say first time. Want to make a name and say first time. In the mission to say, do something and claim it the first time and give glory to ourselves, we're spending more money on the infrastructure, big roads. You can build big roads in there, into the villages, into where, and you will require more money to maintain because there's a landslides there, heavy rain coming down. We will continue to spend more money on infrastructure. But if we don't spend more money, equally balanced money on the science, you make a infrastructure kill him, you make a big leak and die nothing. Mr. Acting Speaker. So we have to be very considerate to make sure there is a fair spending on what we do. Another area is a population control. Population. We are forever in an alarming rate, Mr. Acting Speaker, in an alarming rate, in an uncontrolled rate, in the rate I don't want to make any further description. We're producing so many population, kids coming out this, but we have, in front of us we've got all sorts of problem of stunning and all sorts of medicine and all of those things. We're producing too many kids coming out, and we have to have science. We need science, Mr. Minister. We need science. Science got to tell us how we're going to control population. It's got to be done scientifically to control population in this country. Some countries are used. Some countries are going into science now. We have to control population. We have to balance it out. The resources are not forever coming. Resources are not so abundant. Resources are limitful. And we've got to use science to control the human population so that we have enough. We're going to have enough giants in this country. We want more giants in this country, men and women giants, anyway, in this country. We got enough for everything, enough for everyone. Today, we don't have enough for everyone. Why? Because we're just closing our eyes, closing our impulse and not controlling our impulse. Populists are coming, forever coming. But we need science, Mr. Minister. How are we going to control this by science, Mr. Acting Speaker? And I trust in the science. Nothing but science. We got to do more science.
Honorable Governor.
Yes.
Honorable Governor, I'll just interrupt you to put the member for North Wagi on notice that when you have honorable member standing and talking, you don't walk past before him while talking. The Honorable Governor, you have 5 more minutes.
Yeah, I forgive him. Maybe he doesn't know the standing order, so I forgive him. Mr. Acting Speaker, I memorable me off a tracker. You stop me now. Yeah. But as I say, we need more money to go to the scientific institution. We got more money into NARI, National Agricultural Research Institute. We need more money to Medical Research Institute in Goroka. We need more money to the Faculty of Science at the University of Papua New Guinea. We need more money into Faculty of Science in other universities throughout the country. We need more money into there, and we must enable them to conduct more scientific research. We have to take control of the scientific research, control of it, and we become a master, Mr. Acting Minister. Many experiments are done by foreigners. They come here, do experiment, they do research on many things in our country. They write papers, they get master's degree, they get PhD, they take their research away, and we have to go and pay to get their research whatever they discover. We go and pay more money. They become masters of something that they have did research in our country. We should be the one. We should be conducting the research. We should become the master of the research and become authority. We should become authority. But they become authority. We run after them, and we pay the big money to pay those. And only to come up to master what man entire more now. You mean legally, Mr. Acting Speaker. We have to take control of the research. More research must be done, more discovery must be done, more invention must be done, more innovations must be done in our country, and we must be master of everything, master of anything. If it's to do with Papua New Guinea, we must be master. They come around here to find out from here, we are the authority, we tell them, you should do this like that, Mr. Acting Speaker. Not the German man comes and tells me that he's the master, he's an expert on this kind of a sickness, and the sickness was discovered in Papua New Guinea. We should be the master. They come here, they come to our university, they pay us, they learn from us here. That's what the Germans are doing. That's what the French are doing. That's what the British are doing. That's what the Americans are doing. We should be the master. We should be in control. And we cannot prosper, we can't become a powerful country if we don't put more money into research. You see, China, they speak the Chinese language, but they are now the leaders. They beat the Europeans now. They beat the Americans. Huh? They beat what we thought in the past as the powerful country. They're the one. They're superior and we're inferior. That's what we taught, but by science. Chinese is a leader. China is a leader. Indians are a leader. 40% of the NASA scientists are Indians. 40%. Huh? If we spend more money on science, our guys trained here in physics, go overseas, more physics, they can become scientists in the NASA. They can. We are all human beings. We got the same blood. Maybe different faces and different look, one kind, but same blood and same life, yeah. We're all human beings. Intellectually, we are same, Mr. Acting Speaker. And therefore, we should spend more money on science. And I want to encourage the government of this country to pour money on science. If you lose track of research on science, invention on science, innovation on science, technology based on our based on our intelligence, we are lost. We are lost. Let's spend more money on science, and one day our flag will stand clear, flying clear in the rest of the scientific community. French, you're a scientist. American, you're a scientist. German, you're a scientist. But me, Papua New Guinea, me too, scientists. I'm good, Thank you.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The acting leader of government business.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. Before I move, I want to congratulate and thank the children, our students who are here, sitting all through the session. Thank you, Leap Logara. Mr. Acting Speaker, I move that the Parliament do now adjourn until tomorrow 10 a.m. in the morning.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Honourable members, I now adjourn Parliament to tomorrow 10 o'clock a.m.